evening. I'm Garrett. This is the new Wincy show. Welcome back to the new Wincy show, everyone. Sorry, I just knocked on the desk. I'm so excited. I'm officially here in my condo in Alabama. Here are all my jerseys on display. Signed Tyler Boyd, Joe Burrow white right here, and then original orange AJ Green jersey, alternate color from our older uniforms. But today's not about my jerseys. Today's about something incredible. The Cincinnati Bengals played football, and today I'm going to be recapping that game for you, looking at what more of a compliment sandwich, what I liked, what I didn't like, and then something that I liked. But I think obviously preseason is full of potential and full of everything in between potential and discussed. And I'm here to discuss all of it with you guys on the new Wincy show. So let's get it started. Starting off, obviously, final score of Arizona Cardinals versus Cincinnati Bengals yesterday did not go in our favor. It actually was kind of an embarrassment up until the fourth quarter when we started our fourth team started showing flashes of life, but still didn't end up going our way. 36-23. We all know that, but I'm here looking at the stats, and when you look at it, it really isn't as bad as I think what we're seeing. Even though we did get absolutely munched on, but I mean, the fourth quarter we didn't let them score. But then again, it was at that point it didn't really matter. And once again, preseason doesn't really matter, so I'm not worried about that. But looking at these numbers, I mean, it wasn't like we're not looking for Brandon Allen to throw 50 passes a game. We're not looking for that. We're looking to see how our potential guys, our starters, are possibly going to play, see if somebody makes enough big plays to earn them a roster spot. All stuff like that. We're not looking for scores. Obviously, yes, we all love to win games, but it's the preseason. It doesn't really matter. Everybody was talking about the Jamar Chase drops in last preseason, and we all know how that went. So I've kind of thrown preseason out of my mind and more looked at what the potential for our future going forward is. But anyway, looking at these, our quarterbacks did fine. I think we had way too much pressure on all of them. I think the MVP of yesterday, if I had to talk about him, was either Jake the Snake Browning, shout out to Zim, or Drew Plitt. Drew Plitt sounds awesome. He was whipping around dimes and everything of that nature. Jake Browning had a really great throw to Kendrick Pryor, who made an absolutely insane catch. And then Kendrick Pryor, once again, later in the game, caught a one-handed pass that was absolutely ridiculous. And we all remember seeing that. It's been on highlight reels all day, both of those catches. And once again, our uniforms still look clean. Like, that white Bengal over there just is going to look so good. How can you deny it? Like, we're the swaggiest team in the NFL. Everybody quote me on that right now. We are the swaggiest team in the NFL. And that's coming from G Money Certified right here. But either way, going back to these numbers, I really like how Jacquez Patrick and Travion Williams both run the ball. Chris Evans was showing a lot of good things. Like you see here, it says 8 carries for -3 yards. But I'm not really worried about how they played in terms of like stats. I'm looking at, did they show the effort and were they putting in the work and showing the heart that you're going to go and make a block or you're going to go make a tackle. And obviously Chris Evans showed that. He had a huge run taken away by a penalty. He made a couple huge returns. Another guy who stood out to me on the offensive side, Trent Taylor, was absolutely balling. Kendrick Pryor, like I already said, balling. And then these other guys, like, once again, Stanley Morgan made a name for himself just because he's probably the best blocking wide receiver in the league, and we're lucky to have such a good character with Stanley, and I'm really happy that he's still on our team. All of these good things that we see, though, on the offensive side don't really reflect well on other positions, if you're trying to catch my drift. Our offensive line looked like crap, looked really awful. And what was the worst part, actually, up until about the fourth quarter, when we had Jackson Carman in, it was really embarrassing how we had to go through 3 quarters of that. Our backup offensive line. You can say who's he, what's it's about that all day. Backup offensive line, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. I know it's our backup offensive line, but our backup offensive line should not look like that. We should at least have some sort of comprehensibility and comparability to any other good NFL offensive line, because you're still in the NFL. But not only did Jackson Carman look like crap, everybody else on the line looked like crap, by the way. But he was a starter last year along with Hakeem Adeniji for some games, and he quite possibly looked the worst out of all 5 of our backups. And he's supposed to be a potential starter this year at right guard, which is not good for any of us. However, on the flip side, Cordell Volson, our pick this year in a much later round than when we got Jackson Carman, looked great. He looked steady. He looked solid when you see him in both pass and run coverage or blocking schemes. He looked great. He was holding his own. He was continuing and finishing through the plays. He wasn't letting anybody get beat with his feet. He was making sure that his hands were in the right positions. He was so fundamentally sound. It looked incredible. If you go back and rewatch a lot of the plays where he was doing very well, which are most all of them, you can see that he's just on with the technique, and I can't tell if this is just Frank Pollock or he's just built like this, but he just has that edge. And when he's blocking, he's going to finish you until the play. Like, he's going to continue to fight and push until the play is over, which is something that you want. We're talking about glass eaters here on our offensive line. You want these guys to be glass eaters, but that is a very positive sign. Another positive sign going forward, flipping sides of the ball, defensively, Dax Hill, amazing. I love seeing that the schemes that Lou was putting him in made his potential look incredible. He was fast. He was athletic. He was giving great PBUs, and he almost had an interception in the end zone, but he just couldn't come down with it. The Arizona receiver just kind of knocked it out of his hands at the last second and couldn't hold it through the ground. But he looked great, which is so amazing considering that we have been wondering whether or not this guy was going to be what we were all hoping he was going to be. Obviously, he has shown up so far, but we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. But he looked very solid. He was used in at least 4. I don't remember who I am going to give this credit to, because it wasn't me who saw this at first. I was rewatching the game today in my frustration, but obviously I don't like to lose and I shouldn't be frustrated, but like it still frustrates me either way. But I was watching it and then people were talking about it today, and I think he was used in, someone said 4 different schemes, and he was used as like a faux linebacker, and he also was used deep in like cloud coverages. He looked great, and he could read the field well. Like, he was watching the quarterback's eyes very well. Everything about it was just so solid, and seeing that just makes me so excited that obviously everybody also probably saw that Jesse Bates was in attendance last night. And if we end up don't get something done with him, it means that we have Dax Hill on a rookie contract, first-round rookie contract, and he's able to go and show us that he also is worth that worth that playing time, and he's getting those snaps in. But Kendrick Pryor, God, I keep thinking about it if I'm talking about the rookies. We didn't get to see Cam Taylor-Britt play. Zach Carter was really good. He had a great tackle for – I couldn't remember if the quarterback got in front of the line, but he had a couple great hits. I think he had a sack or two maybe. I don't remember the exact stats. I probably can I'll have it right here. Zach Carter, no sacks, but 2 tackles and 2 assists. So that's just how it shows up on the stat book. But he looked great, and I am just very happy that we have this. Like our offensive line depth looks horrendous, but our defensive line depth looks so good, and that makes me very happy because I know in 2020, when we obviously had a season that wasn't exactly ideal for any of us, it was really hard getting that defensive line depth, and obviously we didn't have any offensive line depth back then either. But it's great seeing that we at least have that part of the trenches covered, and we're not lacking in any of those places. But going forward, obviously it's still preseason, so I'm not too worried about it. But what I would like to see for the future, now that we have this game behind us and we have all the good things that have been listed out going forward, I want to see one drive by the starters in the next game. One. Doesn't have to be, even if it's not a quick drive, even if it's half of a drive, I want to see them play a little bit, because I would love to see that everybody's able and up and mobile, because it's hard going in. Like, I feel like especially Joe is going to need those reps with the appendicitis that he's been struggling with and getting through medically. And I also want to see I just want to see everybody getting those fast reps, because practice is practice, and you have to get a feel for the game, and you have to ease yourself in and making sure that you're able to get all those reps in at full speed. So I would love to see that. First off, I would love to see improvement in the offensive line, I should say. Hopefully somebody can step up. Jackson Carman would look great. I really hope Hakeem Adeniji can do something. Deontay Smith, maybe. Just somebody needs to step up. Cordell Volson already showed that he deserves it, but it needs to be improved. And one last thing, I want to be able to see Cam Taylor-Britt play, and I want to see the continuation of improvement in our defense and all of our young guys, because those guys are going to hopefully be around for a long time, especially now that we're going to try to sign with, or obviously we all want to keep the wide receivers and all the skill players, quote unquote. But going forward, we need to make sure that we're also taking care of the guys who are homegrown, like Jesse. God, keep bringing it back to him. It's just so unfortunate having to go through that situation for all of us as fans and people in the office, and obviously Jesse himself. He knows his value, and he wants to show us that he wants to be here. Like, he's going to say everything without saying anything. But I really would just love to see in the next game our offense improve on most cylinders. That also includes Zach. I think Zach's play calling was not great yesterday. I really would love to see an improvement in play calling this next game and over these next few weeks. And I want to see our offensive line depth show that they need it. Maybe they just need a swift kick in the butt. I'm trying to think of if there's anything that this would push them forward for, but I really hope that just seeing their quarterback getting knocked on their butts would give them enough push to be like, okay, that's not going to happen again. You should never touch my quarterback in the first place. But it's it's hard to think that with our offensive line struggles in the past that we're going to make a huge jump, at least right now, without those starters in. So a little wishful thinking from me, but obviously we all know where we're coming from. And there's just something that you're always going to have to go and improve on. So with that, I thank all of you for joining in for the first game breakdown of the season. Preseason is officially started, which means football season is officially started, which means that the Cincinnati Bengals play football until hopefully January. So with that, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys are following me on Twitter at New Wincy Show and at New Wincy G for me personally. Please keep interacting. I hope you guys are enjoying all this content. And now that football season is back in full swing, we're able to go and discuss more. And we have something to talk about now instead of just conceptual stuff. We have hard, tangible evidence, and we have something to go off of now. And football's back, baby. We have football until February for the rest of this year. We don't have to go a week without football. This is amazing. This is my favorite time of the year. It's almost like Christmas for me. It's like 8 months of Christmas, which is just awesome. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Please reach out to me. Tell me how I want you guys to interact with me. Thank you so much for joining in. And as always, Houday. Good morning, afternoon, evening to whenever you guys tuned in. And good night.